twice now, so...
Yeah, you know, occasionally every 22 sessions. Every 11 sessions out of the 22. So, you guys had some loose ends tie up. You guys did some investigating, some exploring. Thurl Dural, he's dead. And I think I can confirm metagame that his location was determined in part by your actions. His fate was determined in part by your actions. So really, you guys are like indirectly to blame.
Yeah,
No,
I got it.
that's good enough for me. I'll take it.
You guys, like, indirectly killed him. Or maybe he was slated to die. You just changed the location. Or maybe he wouldn't have died at all.
You'll never know until TPK.
Or maybe sometimes the dice rolls I make before, during, and after the sessions that aren't hidden mean something. And maybe they don't.
Maybe
No,
we
I
would
don't
have
mean
burned down
anything.
an orphanage if it hadn't died, so...
Self was in the winch and channel. Likely gone.
Now, I am going to have to be rude and say,
Rude, it's the end of the session.
yeah, I need to go to bed.
Yes.
You asshole.
Yeah,
I'm up
fucking
in-
cunt.
Love you guys too.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed yourself with all the awkwardness there, Gryph, alone.
No, it was just that brief one, and I was really kind of sweating, thinking, okay, how can I do this? Because I know Grimith. Ah!
It was good. I liked your agony. I savored it.
You sadist, you.
Yep, that's me. Grimith the sadist. They put that on the back of my jersey.
You actually go around in real life calling yourself Grimith?
Grimith the sadist.
The sadist. Don't forget my title, motherfucker. I just mentioned it.
Oh, goddamn.
I just
Bye,
say I
Griffin
close
God.
the desk, so this will dial down. So,
Yes. Well, that takes care of that. I suppose we'll keep this recording going a bit longer. Maybe upload this as a short video file. The death speaker. Using the head to, like, speak with dead. Who knew? No. I guess I'll fucking upload this because Christ and I had the last time a session ended up, like, getting truncated because a little snippet of it amounted to nothing like this one did. People lost their fucking minds. Like, what got cut? What salacious details? Was it meant to end abruptly? Well, there you go. Session 22. In the books. A lot of panic, a lot of intrigue, a lot of mystery. Thurl Dural was intended to be assassinated far better in his bolt hole. And the building would have been set on fire, making it look really accidental, like a lantern being tipped over or something. Really doing a great job of erasing the evidence. But the player characters made Thurl Dural panic. They showed up right at his bolt hole and proved that they knew where he was. And so, he fled like a motherfucker. He did his best he could to find a way out, and that made Domino, who was really planning really well, and had that, execution to a T, had been, like, lurking outside that bolt hole for several days. She had planned that so thoroughly, and the player characters fucked up her plan. And so she was forced to compensate, and as it turns out, she's a bounty hunter. Not so much with assassination. Doesn't really do it that well. And so that completely fucked up her plan. Which led to the evidence being pretty blatant out there, with a skull and everything to see. Of Of course, Domino is another loose end. And if she did her job flawlessly, she would have been tied up just like that. But now Domino, because she failed to do that perfectly, she's a little worried. She's a little afraid that because she botched the job so thoroughly, she will not be getting her dream of actually becoming a part of the Black Fang. She saw killing Thrilderall as a golden opportunity, was given the job by Exilia herself, itself. And Domino thought that would be her meal ticket. And because Domino fucked it up, she's worried that it's no longer going to be her meal ticket. And she's right to worry. Because the Black Fang wants Domino dead. And if Domino had just succeeded perfectly, if the player characters had just not fucked up everything, Thrilderall would be dead, and in an accident. Oh, the building was accidentally burned. Oh no! All of the valuable stuff inside. Dear me! And then Domino, a bounty hunter, she vanishes for long periods of time anyway. No one really knows where she stays or where she is. So yeah. So she's in hiding. Probably going to leave the city soon. Because the Black Fang wanted to tie up loose ends. Thrilderall got sloppy. Thrilderall got out of line and wanted to pay Death's Hand to kill the group and bring Tempus back to him so that he could deliver him to the Dwarf Gang. Thrilderall did not act with orders. He acted by his own ambition. That's why Thrilderall got tied up, and Domino, well, she was going to be killed for tying up that loose end. Now she's going to be killed for incorrectly tying up the loose end. Maybe. The player characters might get to her first. The player characters certainly had an opportunity to arrive at the bolt hole while the assassination attempt was taking place. Before they, skewed everything, or even gotten to Thrilderall before the assassination attempt. In which case the timeline would have been different there. Thrilderall would have effectively pled with the player characters for his life, while Domino would have argued correctly that Thrilderall was the individual who attempted to have them all killed. Well, I say them all, and obviously not every single one of them, because not all of the characters are the same now. But that's what Domino's argument would have been, and that she was being paid well to see to it that he could never harm anyone again. Of course, they could have made their own moralistic arguments, and she probably would... I think she would have taken the risk and killed him all the same in front of them, and then dealt with the repercussions, possibly by trying to run. Or maybe by not even trying to have the conversation at all if they had interrupted her, just running herself. But then Thrilderall would have been a real loose end, and Domino would have known for sure that her failure would have secured death. But of course, success would have secured death anyway, so... It's a good thing she wasn't that competent, right? It's a good thing the player characters fucked up everything. They wouldn't have had much of anything. Of course, they still might have had a skull, but they would have never thought of asking the test speaker. Because they clearly didn't. I am not surprised that they didn't think of it. Just amused. Yeah. It's certainly been an interesting series of sessions. I don't think that far ahead. I just identified characters. I don't know what the plans will be. And because I identify the characters, I can, make those plans at a whim. I knew that Exilia, through intermediaries, had told Domino that if she wanted to basically raise her lot in life and become a member of the Black Fang like Calorel was, because Domino is just an outsider, that she needed to do that one thing, kill Thurl Dural. And Domino agreed, even though she was more of a bounty hunter than an actual killer. And Thurl Dural, he realized when Deshan died, and they clearly failed to kill the player characters like they said they did, which is why he paid them, he realized he was fucked. Like, they were gonna come right after him. He just assumed that it was all fucked, and so that's why he fled to his bolt hole. That they really showed up at and announced themselves, which, like I noted earlier, made him panic. Because I know the motivations of the NPCs, because I know what they have, what they want, and what they're willing to do to get what they want, I can make those judgments on the fly. I know what Evrat Level wants. I know what Exilia wants. I know what Adric Locke wants. Yes, I'm not entirely sure what these black strains... I've never had this problem happen before. Maybe just because I... Oh, now it works fine. Maybe something to do with the memory? I'm not entirely sure. Yes. I know worried about there being too much noise and fuss being in the Winch and Chain this session. But since Tempus ended up being in there alone because Dark was away, coughing or distracted or whatever, I decided it would be suiting and fittable to have the extra faces in. Rylan Witt, of course, who wasn't recognized, not that I'm surprised. Because, you know, Gryph wasn't there at that particular moment of the session when they spoke with him. He didn't pop in until later. Also had, you know, a smattering of other faces. And then Vane Delacroix himself, who's still making horrible attack rolls. Jesus, Vane. Fuck. Supposed to be good, man. I love how his fucking ability is red herring. I love the name of that. I don't think he got to use that at all. Or maybe he had a chance and I just missed it during that combat with Deshan. Oh well. There are other powers and abilities and features which could have done far worse to Team PC. And ended up not seeing the light, but that's not a big deal. I don't need to worry about keeping my villains alive. I can always make more villains. I can always create new antagonists with ideas, recycling from old villain ideas, utilizing powers and abilities that don't exist in the rulebook, that I put on other antagonists that never got to be used or never shined to their fullest. I have that power and control. Because I'm the fucking referee. I am the arbitrator. I am God. Like, we create this construct together because we believe. And they cede power and control over everything that's not their characters to me. I've certainly done more with, say, Evrat Level and his one unique thing than the player characters themselves are allowed to do. I am particularly pleased with how the past few sessions have turned out. I like what I've done with Newport. I like the NPCs I've designed. I like the tavern factions I've made in Little Drakenhall. It's so petty and stupid. Like, identifying by what tavern you go to. It's social commentary. It's absurd and realistic. Absurd yet realistic. Huh, how about that? At this neighborhood of like 200 people, but, you know, far more like travelers and stuff going in through. Little Drakenhall, you have your two taverns. There is a pleasure den, which I do have a map for, which I believe has flashed by at some moments. Particularly last session, I think. But no one's been to, and it has a number of interesting facets associated with it. Adric Locke, the boy, Not surprised I didn't recognize him. It has been a while. Session 3, I believe, is when they met him. He was intended as someone they could meet far sooner in Newport. Not intended so much as I had thought of it as an idea whenever they first arrived in Newport. But they left so quickly that I decided against it. Lots of other things too. Like, I've had the domino token lurking around for a while, if you've paid attention to the tokens I have on screen. Speaking of tokens, me fucking, like, confusing them by dragging Nathan's token instead of Tim the manservant. That's great. Good times. I am very pleased with how the campaign has gone recently, but I did want a break. I want 2 weeks to consider the situation and the evolution of consequences. I want the 2 weeks to decide what Domino will do next. I want the 2 weeks to decide what the Black Fang will do next. Arnaud? Vane? Nathan? Of course, you viewers at home will know that I created, or I encouraged Aurelia's belligerent attitude because she rolled a 1. I should do more with those alarm sprites. That was a, that alarm on the door didn't exist until Manaki wanted to use his 5 for something pertaining to it. Or did it exist? No? Yes. Honestly, I don't remember. But because of the 5, I decided that he would know about that alarm and he could easily dispel it. But in exchange, those fucking alarm sprites, whenever he dispelled the ritual, they wouldn't go away. Even if he had succeeded the check, they would have lurked around for a little bit. But because he failed, because he rolled a 1, they ended up being bound to him for a little bit, which, a funny complication. But yeah, player characters, when they have the freedom to choose what they want, they will make choices and decisions that, well, at least for me, I wouldn't consider to be the first choices and immediate choices. But then again, I don't even have all the answers. I just know the NPCs. I know who matters in the story. Well, I don't even know if that's true. Because ultimately who matters is the player characters. Because ultimately who matters is the players, the participants. Their minds are more powerful than mine. Like, all of their weight together surpasses my intellect in my creativity. There's ideas I get most sessions from them, or epiphanies that I'll have while speaking about something that I never considered. There's some I'm thinking of right now that happened in just this session that I never even considered. It's, not intelligent design. I'm just lucky. I'm not that good. Or am I? I'm smart enough to think on my feet and pretend that I knew this all in advance, and I am just that adaptable, that I am that skilled. But I'm not. There was the intended fight I had in mind was going to interrupt them sometime during the night. Or at least during their travel. And I could have made it happen on a few locations. I certainly considered it. But I didn't want to do the fighting then. Because it wouldn't have been that... It just would have been like a pressure valve. And I haven't gotten the sense, but it's so hard for me to tell due to the lack of body language I have from the other players, because I can't see them. I haven't gotten the sense that they've been so fed up that they want to be thrust into combat. Maybe sheep. But I don't understand sheep. It's been a change of pace. One that doesn't bother me, but I did intend for a combat to occur. It was going to be an entertaining combat, I believe, on a cluttered city map, and hopefully they'll do some more night travel. Lead in night travel, because we can make some stuff happen. Yes, these will be making another appearance, along with these and these. What's the story behind them? Oh, it's good. And who knows? Maybe next session, they'll never show up, because I'll have a change of mind, or I won't think a battle's really that fitting. The player characters may pursue some angles with their relationship dice. Manaki was the only one, well, Sheep and Manaki got 2 relationship dice each for this session. Not that it surprised me, because the only other person who rolled for this session was Goger, because 40% of the party was absent. Manaki didn't try to use his until Monday, and I didn't get the text until today, because I didn't open Skype on Monday, and I basically got hand-waved. Maybe he'll think of some way to spend his stuff. He didn't roleplay out anything, because it was a busy session. And Sheep didn't try to use anything until the end, and I thought it fitting that they could reclaim the head for that purpose. Perhaps I said something overly much. Perhaps I should not have said as much as I did in encouraging them with ideas, but there is an NPC in the group who is intelligent and capable, and this subject did tend to apply to him. And I do put the preface, like, if you consult him. I use this sausage analogy too many times, so I don't want to use that analogy. I hate the fucking current analogy. I like to reveal the inner mechanisms and show the guts. Like, not everyone likes that. Some people want to keep the illusion, the kayfabe or whatever, and not know, like, what their choices can do or affect. They want to keep it all a mystery. I, on the other hand, whenever I do this style, and as I've proven this campaign, I like to demonstrate to the players the immediate consequences of their actions. They could have saved Thirlderall's life. They could have caught Domino with them red-handed. And they could have encountered and dealt with them both right there. They could have an alive Thirlderall to interrogate, and God, would he be willing to talk. He'd be so willing to talk if he were alive. He'd fucking spill everything if he thought it would make him not dead. Because well, I should modify that. If they caught him, if they caught him and Domino together, and they saved his life from Domino when his guards had been dealt with or bypassed, then he would have been very cooperative, because that meant that if he had seen Domino, she was probably sent by the Black Fang. That would be his intelligent guess, even though she's not really affiliated, or at least he didn't think so. But why would anyone else be hunting him? Especially not to bring him to justice, but to kill him. He went into hiding out of fear that the player characters would track him down. He didn't go into hiding because of the Black Fang. And so he'd tell the fucking player characters everything. He really would have. He would have spilled everything he knew, which would not have directly led to Exilia, because of the web of intricacy and secrets, but would have revealed far more. Of course, the player characters, they don't know that. And sometimes I don't want to feel like I'm rubbing it in their faces like what they could have done. They made the choices that they made, and we're rolling with it. Besides, I can't say for 100% certainty what would have or would have happened, because I might have changed my fucking mind on the fly. I do that a lot. I'm mercurial, I adapt the situations as they occur, and sometimes an idea, a battle that I think is suitable initially, I reject it. I will say, though, that, well, then again, I thought combat would happen this session. No, it didn't. Combat might happen next session. Vane Delacroix appearing, that, I didn't think the player characters would meet him in that fashion. but I thought they might meet him in a fashion. They certainly had the opportunity. I will say one method of that right now would have been if they kept the ship in place and kept watch over it. Vane Delacroix would have headed to the vessel, unsuspecting, basically thinking that maybe Nathan had not taken the vessel, and not caring that much about Nathan, they're just gonna fucking pack up and leave. Because Vane is that concerned for his life. He played it cool in the tavern because it was one-on-one. Not even really one-on-one, because Vane wasn't alone in there. But Nathan proved his ass wrong. Death's Hand thought they had crushed the group. And all of Vane's friends are now dead. Vane only survived himself because of his magic item, and because no one inspected his body too closely. That's the only reason he's alive. Not by, the good fortune to have that item from the Prince of Shadows. That's why. Which reminded Manaki of his Age of Darkness campaign, I think. That's in the Book of Loot. Let's see. So yeah, that happened. But, I thrust Vane into that situation. It was a plausible place for him to be. And so I put him there. And did that change the player's conceptions and ideas? It sure did. But I had thought they might see him this session anyway. But yeah, if they had staked out the ship, he would have been there. And they could have done something about it. If they had planted noticeable guards, he would have seen those. And he would not have approached the ship. He would have found another way to leave. Because he does have some money. The guards didn't bother too much with him. They thought he was dead. They thought all the bodies they took were dead. And so he fucking got himself up at a convenient moment and he just fucking walked away. He did a bit more than that, but you get the gist. And so he got to keep his stuff. Well, the stuff that the player characters didn't loot from him, like the gold. But Vane Delacroix is a rogue. He got some money. He's got some connections still. Although his connections are far worse now. Especially without that information at Death's Hand headquarters. The player characters do still have their fistful of 5s. They've only expended one of those. There are a number of 5 consequences. Consequences due to 5s lurking around in the background somewhere still. There's certainly one from Fargus that I plan on popping up at an inopportune moment. I know Fargus is dead. But he made a promise to Theral the Everliving, and Theral the Everliving is going to try and cash out the entire group, which would send the player characters back to Drakenhall. There is also, of course, the idea that Goger's character can get some information pertaining to his sister. If he but... Oh, shit. I forgot to send that to him. I said that to him between sessions, and I forgot. And he never reminded me. Fuck! Well, it's a good thing I had the self-dialogue. Good job, monologue me. Good job. Right. Well, before I forget that, then, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I dragged this on for like 20 minutes more than it had to be. Just so we wouldn't have a little tiny fucking pissant thing. It was excellent. You did a good job. Okay, well... He needed the server for something else. And he ended up disconnecting anyway. I don't think anyone's connected to it. No, good. Glad I checked that before I made the rolls. We're out of here, folks. See you next session, or, whenever I upload these, because I think the last one I uploaded right now is still 12. Been pretty busy with other things, and I haven't wanted to upload more of this until I upload some more of my other stuff. Which will be coming. Because I got it done. Now I just gotta find the time to upload. Not that easy. Don't have super fast internet land things. Can't just do things whenever I sleep. Nope. Can't be a burden. Take care.